purple or pink. I swear picking out the color sometimes is the hardest part of creating. Join me while we create 3 amazingly beautiful leather flowers with these 3 brand new kits from Real Leather. We're going to sculpt them, paint them, and add them as accessories to fun little projects. So let's make some flowers. I'm Erin Reed Makes, and join me while we play with all things crafty and creative by making projects, going to fun crafty events, and just all things creative. Welcome to my channel. Let's start with our first flower from Real Leather, which is the rose. All the elements you need in here. There's also printed instructions, the cut out pieces of leather, and also the little stick to help you do some fine details. The only other thing that you need is a spray bottle of water. You get 2 small, looks like little 4-leaf clovers. You get 2 large ones, and then you get this funky little piece. This one took me a hot minute to figure out what it was. It's actually the leaf and then like the stamen that goes under the flower. Back to the water. This is what's called casing. Casing is basically spraying water on the leather to get it nice and soft, so that way you can mold it and manipulate it and make it all these fun shapes. So water, leather, and spray. And you know it's doing its job because guess what? It changes color. It's like magic. So when you want to do one side, you want to flip over and do the other. And you're going to spray both sides. Regular old tap water, people. Nothing fancy. My other favorite tool, paper towels. So handy in the workroom. And I don't want to leave all this extra water on the desk, so I'm going to just wipe this down. It also gives me a really good excuse to clean my desk. We're going to do a little bit of a tap just to get some of the excess water off. If it starts looking like you've got some patches where there's just not enough water, like it looks a little funny right here, I can come in and just a little bit of extra water. That doesn't even have anywhere near enough. Totally missed doing that one. So while these are soaking in and doing their thing, we're going to manipulate in a minute. I want to show you that there's 2 different sides to leather. There is a smooth side and there is a fuzzy side. We are going to be working with the smooth side up the entire time. Now, when they're wet like this, you can still tell what is the smooth side. It looks like it's got almost like little dimples on it. Just showing you the wet version versus the dry version. Smooth and fuzzy. We're gonna do the exact same thing for 3 of these. One of the small ones, we're gonna do something a little bit different. So we're gonna show you one at a time. But basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna take our flower and we're gonna crinkle it up. We're gonna make it a nice little ball. This helps just kind of soften the leather, kind of get it moving, roll it around, let it, get all kinds of fun. And then open it up. It just kind of helps move it and groove it a little bit. Now we're gonna take each petal and we're gonna fold it in half. And fold in half. And fold in half. So far, not so hard, right? Pretty easy. Now we're gonna take the half and we're gonna take the petal and we're gonna flip it back like this. There we go. Make it look like it's got like a little fortune cookie. That's what it looks like. So take it and then fold it back. Take it and fold it back like a little fortune cookie. Now, what you can do is you can leave it, and this needs to dry overnight. I have already done so. So here is a version I already made and it's nice and dry, and you can tell it's dry because look, it went back to the original color. Now, what you can also do to make sure that it keeps its kind of lips, and notice it's dried and it has a little bit of a lip, is you can let it rest inside of a little container. So this looks like some washi tape or a little tape dispenser. So you can kind of pop it inside of there and let it sit there and rest and dry. So let's do the other big one. We're gonna take it and we're gonna smash it all up, just kind of helps it get moving a little bit. And we're gonna do the exact same thing. Movie magic. Et voila. And we're gonna do the same thing for the small one. And guess what? Movie magic. Et voila. It's amazing how much movie magic I have here. Start off the exact same way. We're going to crumple this up. And this one you really want to kind of get all ruffled up and really nice and mushy. And then open it up. And same thing, fold in half, fold in half, fold in half. So it looks exactly the same. We haven't changed anything yet. Now we're gonna make the rosebud. So the first thing we're gonna do, just like before, we're gonna pinch, we're gonna flip, just like we did. But we only wanna flip the very, very top, as close to the top as possible. And then when it's flipped, now we're gonna take it and we're gonna roll it in on itself, almost like it's a little, like a burrito taco. And that's the center of our rosebud, right there. Now we take the other ones. We're gonna pinch and flip. Same as before. These last 3 petals are identical. We're not changing them. Pinch and flip. And pinch and flip. There we go. Now, this is where it gets a little bit different. Instead of letting it dry out like this, we're gonna pull them together and we're gonna place these in. And if you wanna flip these out a little bit more, go for it. And then you're gonna grab the next petal, pull it in, see the rosebud starting, and grab the last one. And that is the center of our flower. It looks like a little rosebud. And that's where you really wanna have something for this to go into the center of, and it dries. And again, movie magic. Et voila. So here it is all dried. It is done. And when it's set and when it dries, and it dries like that, it definitely keeps its shape. So it's nice and like full, just like you see there. Now we get to start placing them before we paint them and color them. And look how they all come together. Look how pretty that looks. For this one is where you grab this fun little tool right here. And for the leaf itself, we're gonna draw 2 lines, and you can see it. You can see like there's markings on there, right? And that's the center. This is our leaf. And then we come in and we draw lines just like this. Draw lines. And we're gonna end up cutting there. Now this is the stamen. We're not gonna see this too much. And you just wanna do a few little lines just to give it some texture. The final project we're gonna see, we're not gonna see this. A little bit you're gonna see it, just to give you a little bit of a heads up. You're gonna see a little bit of it poking out there, but you will see this part. This is our finished project. And now along here is where we're gonna cut. Now we're gonna cut with a line, but not past the double edge in the center. It's kind of like we're giving it almost like a little feathery out look to it. And you can do a few or you can do a lot. I've only done like about what, 5 or 6 on either side, but if you wanted to do 8 or 9 on that side, you totally can. And then the last thing, ball it up just like we did before. Give it all kinds of some really nice fun texture. And if you want your leaf to have a little bit of some texture to it, if you want it to have a little bit of some moving and grooving, if you want these to kind of curl up or curl down, that's when you can play with them and have them have some kind of fun. And again, a little bit of movie magic, there we go. And you can see the lines as they dry, which is kind of cool. So we're gonna paint these. I picked out some really pretty paints. This was the beginning, pink or purple. I decided to do a little bit of both. So that way I don't have to make that decision because colors are hard. And these are Josana paints from Chroma Paint. We have deep violet, we have regular violet, we have magenta, and then we have olive green. We're gonna do the deep purple for all of the flowers, and we're gonna do the front and the back because, again, little sneak your peek, you're gonna see all of it, and we have to get every little nook and cranny. And then the 2 other colors right here, that's what we're gonna use to accent the top. So grab yourself a nice paintbrush. I've got my Dynasty paintbrush, and I'm just gonna plop the paint on here. There we go. I'm gonna paint the back sides, and just goes on, it takes 1 coat. The part that you've got to be aware of and you have to be careful of is that you want to make sure that you're getting in every little nook and cranny. So because this is such a light leather and because I'm using a darker color paint, if you skip an edge, it gets very noticeable. And yes, I'm gonna get my hands super painty, but that's okay. Sign of a good craft day. You're just gonna wanna get in here and paint, and like underneath here, really make sure you get into every little crevice. Suggestion, if you're ever wanting to do this particular project, or if you're ever painting something that's got lots of nooks and crannies, give a base coat, pick 1 color to paint with, and then go back and add in your details and accents, because that way you're not worried about, you know, because you're touching the front and you might get paint from the front because you're having to manipulate it and move it around, and you got to get the edges. So paint it the whole thing 1 color and then go in and add the fun little extra details and the textures and the shading and all that kind of fun stuff. Sign of a good crafty day. So now gotta go wash my hands before I do the green so I don't like transfer green and purple. I just make mud. Clean time. Hands are clean, time for the leaf, and it's the green. So now we're gonna go in with the 2 colors and add a little bit of dry brushing. For this, you need a dry brush. Grab a paper towel again, take your brush, and you wanna dry it off as much as possible. And then we kinda hit, like this already has a lot of paint on it, but that's okay. We're kinda hitting the top surfaces. So just come in. If it's like, oh my God, that's too much, it's too thick, you went over, we're gonna fix it here in a second. Just kinda hit the highlights here. Don't worry about being perfect. And then use that paper towel just to kind of brush and clean it up a little bit. And now it looks like it's just hitting the highlights. There we go. And then we're just doing the same for the other ones. And every time you do this, it's gonna look a little different because no flower is the same. They're all gonna be a little bit different. You're never gonna paint it identical one way or the other. Now we're gonna come in with our lighter purple and kind of do the same thing. Ooh, that was a lot. I'm gonna grab a different brush this time. Same method. And it's just adding a lighter color of tone. So we've done the pinky and then just dab. And it gives it some more dimension. Look at that. And then we have our last one. And I put way too much paint on there. It's okay. There we go. Like little highlights. And I'm not worried about putting anything in the center because we're going to glue all these together anyway. This is a special glue that's made for leather, so I figure, you know, if it's made for leather, we're going to use it. So rule of thumb, this is why I have a paper towel sitting out here, is I open it up and I test my glue. It comes out really fast. It's more of a liquid. Saw how fast it came out? This is where you have to be careful. I'm going to line up my flowers in the order that we're going to put them together. So you're going to put a little dab of glue. And that's probably way more than we need. And you're gonna grab a crappy paintbrush, one that you don't care about because this is adhesive, this is glue. We don't wanna use our really, really nice paintbrushes that we're using for painting with glue because then all of your fibers are gonna start sticking together. So this was like a paintbrush that came in a 10 pack that was $1. Don't care about it. Plus I have a really bad habit of leaving them out and then before washing them and then they get all gross. So again, I don't care about this one. And then you're gonna want to paint it on. And then place these two together. Now, this right here needs to have a chance to bond. So you want to give it a hot minute to seal, to bond, to do its thing. It takes about 30 to 60 seconds for the full bond. And then we're going to do our next layer. Paint it in, and then you're going to put the next one in. Now, if you notice as I'm putting in each of these layers of flowers, I'm not layering them one on top of the other, meaning I'm not stacking them perfectly symmetrical. I'm going off center. And then I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to hold it. And then add another little dab of glue right there. Paint that in. And then add in the last one. Now for this one, I'm gonna hold it in and kind of like squish it up. So insider secret, I filmed this totally out of order, mostly to give everything time to have a good dry. So this is a couple hours after I officially painted it, even though for you it's like right away. Truthfully, if you were gonna do this project, I would let even more than a couple hours go by. Maybe give it a full evening to dry 100% to really let that glue cure and make sure it doesn't move around on you. All right, so what are we gonna do with this? Now that we've made this beautiful flower, and let's not forget the bottom part, we're gonna turn it into a hair clip. So I snagged one of my son's rubber bands that he uses for his braces just to hold that in place, just to see if I liked it, and it's about the right size. And then this piece goes right there. So guess what? It kind of covers up the entire clip. So I'm gonna pick up and everywhere, whoa, that's already liquidy. So we're gonna attach the glue to here. Have that go down. Again, it'll dry clear, so I'm not worried. And then the glue to here. And then that pops down. I'm gonna have another little clip to hold that in place so it doesn't go anywhere. Okay, so now we're gonna come in with our glue here. And I'm gonna go all through here, add our flower. But we're just gonna have to kind of hold this in place. It's gonna take a hot second, but it'll get there. But for you, look at these split. So it's all dried, and even from this angle, you cannot see the clip. It just fit just inside there, like it kind of just hid. And I went ahead and clipped that little rubber band off, and let's see what it looks like in. So, okay, here we go. Here's the little telltale. There it is. What do you think? What do you think? Am I gorgeous? So I turned this into a hair clip, but you can make this into whatever you like. It's such a pretty flower, and obviously you can make it whatever color you like. I picked purple to go with my blue, so it would be complementary but contrasting and not too matchy, but kind of fun. What do you think? Can I get away with wearing a flower in my hair? So now let's move on to the sunflower. This one is so super cute. So here is the sunflower kit. Inside your kit, you have 2 large sunflowers, a little circle, and then your little tool again. So first step, same as last time, grab your water and spray away. Major, would you please stop hitting things? My God. Okay. Better. No, stop wobbling. You had to hit the camera, huh? Goofball. All right, we're gonna start with the little guy first. So this is where your tool is gonna come in handy. Just smash. So like start getting kind of malleable. Grab your little tool, and we're gonna do light pokes. And just do this on the outside. You don't want to do it in the center because we're gonna make bigger ones there. Sunflowers have seeds in the center. We're mimicking what the seeds look like. Now for the center, we're gonna make really big ones. So if you wanna grab your other tool, like this tool, you can do either side. I like this one, and if it makes funny little shapes, that's fine too. And make them really obvious. I've got some like really, really big seeds going on. Now we're gonna come in and we're gonna kind of cup it. make it look a little more domed. So see, we have a dome shape here. Just kind of come around and make it look like it's a little dome. Now just put this little guy off to the side, let it dry. Remember, we gotta let it fully dry before we can do any painting or anything else to it. Now we're gonna go with the big sunflower, and these two sunflowers are identical. I like to kind of mush it up, and it gives it some more flexibility and some texture. It looks a lot more fun than this one that looks flat. This one's got some character to it now. So now for each petal, we're gonna come in and you're gonna go from the bottom, and we're gonna flare out right there, just right there. So you grab it and you do a little flare. So grab and flare, and just go all the way around until you get back to the beginning. You just want to do it for all of them. And then we're going to kind of push up in the center a little bit, and then kind of spread it out. So it's got a little bit of like a bend to it. I'm going to do the exact same thing to this one like I did this one. There we go. All we have left to do is let these dry, and then it's time to paint them. So now it's time to actually paint them. We're gonna switch gears and we're gonna use a different brand of paint just to show variety of all the different paints that are out there. This time we're gonna play with some Deco Art Americana paint, which you can pick out at all the big box stores. And I have a nice little variety of colors. So for the inside, we're gonna use both the brown and then the black. And then for the actual flower itself, we're gonna use these beautiful colors. So we have canary, sunset gold, and lipstick. And over here we have coffee beans and black tie. We're gonna do the center first. So I'm gonna put a little bit of some paint down. Oops. I need to shake it first. It's been a hot minute since I've used this. So shake your paint, people. All right. That looks way better. Look at the difference in that. It's amazing what happens when you shake your paint. All right, so I'm gonna pull a little bit. That's some of the pigmenty color mixed in with the paint. That's why you gotta do that. And we're gonna do the front and the back. I'm just gonna do a nice light wash, but that looks really pretty. I like that. I mean, that looks like the beginning of inside of a sunflower already. Now for these ones, I'm gonna do canary, and I'm gonna do the back and the front. Get my paint on there. And yeah, we're just gonna pull some sleeves back and enjoy the music while we paint. The other black paint I showed you started drying up, but I have this giant bottle of another brand of Deco Art. It's their Deco Earth Reclaimed paint, so we're gonna try that on there. We're gonna do that dry brush method again. So dry brush, a little bit of paper towel, and just come in and kind of just enough to get a little bit of color on here. Just a little extra in the center. So just a little bit of some dry brush. It's not heavy paint, so we can still see the coloring, and we're just trying to get a little bit of extra coloring in the center. And then grab a little bit extra paint, again, kind of wipe it off. I don't want it thick, and we're just gonna kind of hit around the edges. And then use your finger or the paper towel to kind of smooth it in. And just for a little added contrast, I'm coming in with just the lighter color now, just a tiny, tiny bit of that yellow. And just kind of hitting right through here. Just adding some little pops of some of the color, letting some of those little nooks and crannies that we created on here kind of pop. And they kind of sparkle in there. See how they just kind of pop in there? I'm also gonna do the same thing with a little bit of this red right on the edge though. Grab some of that red. And just on the edge, it'll tie in when we do our sunflower. And then rubbing it in. And now I've got beginnings of our sunflower seeds. That's the center. And so now I've got the sunset gold, and we're gonna come in and kind of paint some of the petals. Don't worry about trying to be too exact. We're adding extra color in here. And we're coming all the way to the center. This is gonna get covered up. If you notice, we're gonna come in here. So don't worry about how exact it looks in there, because that's just gonna go popped right in the center there. And keep in mind also, our flower is gonna get layered here, right? So we're just coming in and adding some color on this. A little bit of this orange on every single petal. Not crazy, just a tiny bit. And then we'll continue to do it like that. Make sure it does come to the center, because we don't want it to look funny and have one kind of stop. So grab yourself a smaller brush, because we want to get inside some of these crevices. So grab a smaller brush, grab that red, and we just want to kind of come in and kind of flare out. Let the brush do the work, kind of come out and just kind of hit the tips. Let some of the leather work do the work for you. So just kind of go in those little valleys. Get some darker spots, that's okay. Flowers are different colors. And there we go. Just a little dab will do you kind of in the center on this one. And then because we're gonna have quite a bit that touches, we're gonna go ahead and smooth this around to quite a bit. Layer the two together, and you got some time to kind of play around with the where you want it. So that's too matchy-matchy on that side. So I'm gonna just turn it a little second. So I look at the top and it gets unaligned from the bottom, so I might tweak some of these little ones. A little bit of glue here again. Paint it around, get it all nice and covered, and then pressure. The longer it stays, it will bond even better, so just give it some time to cure and to finish its bonding. I'm always excited when I make something and I'm like, I envision it in my head and then it comes alive and I'm like, ooh, that's what I really wanted to do. Happy. Everybody else get that way? They're just giddy that they made something that was pictured in their mind and boom, I made it. What are we gonna do with this sunflower that's a little bit different than the rose? This one is gonna turn into a bookmark. So I've got my glue, I've got a journal cover. I love this is an Erin Reed journal and it is just so pretty. And I have a stretchy bookmark. I thought orange would look really pretty because it matches in with some of the orange colors. I got these off of Amazon for like next to nothing. To actually put this on here, we're gonna go over our pages just to stretch it out. Either can go with felt or you can go with another piece of leather. I have extra pieces of the leather, which is the exact same piece that was in here. So if you had 2 kits, you could snag it. Or if you had spare leather, you can always cut a circle. But if you only have the 1 kit and you're like, I don't want to go buy, I don't have any of the leather, felt works just as good. I'm going to use the fuzzy side up, so the smooth side goes down. Pop this underneath. A little dab on this side, a little dab on this side, just to get the glue going around. And now add our piece de resistance. It's all done. It's super cute. What a fun little bookmark. So it bookmarks on the inside to whatever page you're at, and it will add a little something extra on the front cover. I don't know, making it pretty just makes me want to use my planner more. So let's go to our last flower, which is the cute little daisy, and it is exactly identical to shape the flower as the sunflower. So we're just going to skip to the painting part. So if you want to check out how to sculpt the daisy, go back and check out the sunflower. Exactly the same, just a little bit smaller. So this is my inspiration for the color for the daisy. It's gonna be a white daisy. I'm gonna go traditional, but I want some hints of the peach because this is gonna go on my purse as a key fob. I'm not a big purse wearer, but when I do, you know, I pull out my nice coach, so I thought I'd put some little decor on here. So let's color match as best we can. So we're pulling out another brand of paint. This time we're playing with Arteza paints, just to show you that pretty much all craft paint is gonna work on leather. So I've got 2 different pinks. So I've got mulberry pink and rose pink, and then a lemon yellow to make it that peachy color. So just a little bit. All right. Just try to make it more peachy. And look at that, we have peach. Didn't know we were gonna be mixing colors today, did you? I'm gonna grab a little bit of, I'm gonna go a little less. And now we're gonna do the darker tone. There it is. Look at, it's coming. It's coming. A little bit of this pink. A little plop of that. And I'm gonna add a tiny bit more of the yellow. I'm gonna keep what's on here. There we go. Just to darken this up a tiny bit. Look at that. And that's almost dead on. That's pretty darn close. I'm liking these 2, but I'm gonna keep the light one over here just in case I wanna play with that. But look at that. I've got some really 3 different peachy colors and I still have my yellow. The white, I'm gonna start with the back first. And you know the drill. We're just gonna paint. Now we're gonna concentrate more on doing the center of the flower here. Let's go with a darker color first. So we're gonna go with the darker color. And this we are truly gonna paint on. So we're just gonna go circular fashion. And just kind of hit the center. And we are gonna do this for both, even though they're layered. I just wanna get all the yumminess. And then kind of come into the center, using the edge of the brush here. And I don't need the paper towel underneath my hand. There we go. And then just kind of come in and hit some of those edges coming in. We're gonna come in with that lightest color and brushing some of it off. I really do wanna keep my flower mostly white because if I make this too peachy, then it's not gonna show up against the peach purse. So I want it to feel like it's more white than peach. I feel like my brush just does not have enough of the light tone because I'm not putting much on there, then I can go grab some more paint. We're gonna go in with the lighter tone first and we're just gonna kind of hit the center. If you hadn't guessed, we're gonna kind of brush it away because we want to see some of that yellow. So we're just seeing a hint of that pink coming in there.
And we're gonna kind of just go around the edge. And again, kind of blend with a paper towel. And this one I'm gonna really paint on. Take it and really kind of smash it. There we go. I wanna see some of that yellow popping through, but I don't want it to be super like in your face. A little dab of glue, paint it around, and then glue it down. Put a little bit of glue in the center, paint it around, and then stick it down. Along with our pretty little daisy, I also have another piece of leather. I've painted it white, but again, you can also use felt just in case you want to. And then we have some craft lace. So I liked the yellow with the craft lace. I thought that looked really, really pretty right here. And this is just one of many colors. There's a lot of colors. We're gonna add a little dab of glue there, wrap it around. We're gonna put our craft lace down. We're gonna kind of center it right there. Add a tiny bit more glue, paint that in, and then place our little button on top. So my Coach bag already has this little dangle, and if you don't have a dangle, you could use a clip like this, and you could easily just pop it open, clip it, and then you've got some options depending on your bag. I like it here personally because then it dangles just a little bit better as you're holding it. But since I already have this little dangle piece, it just got kind of junky having all the metal hardware on there. I kind of like it better on here.
It's just a little extra dangle that goes on your purse, which I think is kind of cute. Between the flower in my hair, the flower in my journal, and the flower on the purse, Real Leather has really kind of amplified all of my fun little things I like to play with. And by adding something a little extra pretty that I made to it, makes it even that much more special. Don't forget, links are all down below, and I'll see you later. Bye, everybody. Now, do I leave it in while I edit? Haven't even opened this yet. A lot of paints I haven't opened yet. Seems to be my MO. I haven't opened a lot of the paints I'm using. Good, I get to use them. Now we're moving on to the daisy. Yep, daisy. Gosh.